Do you want to introduce yourself? I'll have your links in the description and everything, but do you want to like say what you do or anything like that?
Like, what do you mean? Like, what my job, like, what my occupation is?
No, like I mean, do you want to explain? Like, I'll have links to your like SoundCloud and your YouTube channel and stuff. But if you want to like briefly just say what that is so people know what they're checking out, then that's fine.
Um, yeah, I guess I can talk about it for a second. Like, I go under the name Philosophic, and I make rap beats, I guess, in my free time. Try to sell them occasionally, but like, not very many have been sold. That's really just about it. It's just about making music, honestly, at this point.
Yeah, and
Trying to
then
make a name for myself.
do you want to say anything? Do you want me to call you by your Discord name or your real name?
I mean, it doesn't really matter, dude,
Or I mean,
to me.
I mean the red guy.
Housekeeper.
Okay,
Uh,
hellskeeper.
I mean, nobody's fucking called me that. Like, even if people who do try to call me that, like in game and stuff, it's usually a very butchered form of it. So,
It seems pretty easy to pronounce.
yeah, I know, but I've been called fucking housekeeper. Like,
House
I don't know, dude. That's just the one that stuck out to me, man. It's been like 4 years, and that one's still in the back of my mind.
Every time someone brings up your username, you just get flashbacks.
It's funny.
Exactly.
But yeah, I guess I wanted to ask like what goes into like making a song because I've wanted to start. I've always been interested in just like making things, and I started with like gaming videos on YouTube, which I'm still doing because that's like pretty simple and like easy to understand. But recently I've been trying to get into music and like do covers of just like pretty like simple but like still kind of like famous songs, and it's so hard to like recreate the beat and like the melody and everything like that.
Are you well like when you say you're doing covers, are you just using like instrumentals and like singing them, or like
No,
because like
I'm
covers could mean literally like a whole like plethora of things. Like when I first started playing guitar, like way back, like even before high school, like I'd post covers to YouTube of me just like playing through guitar lines over instrumentals or like whatever it is.
mm,
You're trying to like recreate the entire song.
yeah.
So like I guess if you're going to cover somebody else's music, you're going to want to start with okay, like what is the chord progression? You figure out what the chord progression is, it's pretty simple from there. Like the thing about music is like if you don't know very much about music theory, it's going to be a lot harder than if you did. So like I guess like I don't know what song were you trying to cover or like what's one of them?
Yeah, I mean, I've been well. There's a lot of them that I've just been looking at. Like, for example, like "Stolen Dance." It like seemed pretty simple when I like first like heard it and like thought I could like do like some sort of cover on it or something. And I have like there's like a website or a program, I forget what it is, that you can have all the instruments and like make all the sounds and everything. But like I'm trying to like play around with it and like match what they're doing in like a lot of songs, and like I don't understand it. And like I've watched like a lot of YouTube videos on music theory, but the only thing that I've really like remembered or like retained from it is like the different like letters for different sounds, like the names of the keys and stuff. But like the rest of it, I feel like just goes like right over my head. I don't know if I'm like stupid or
Well, I mean, it's okay. Well, it's not. You're not stupid. Music theory is very. It's a notoriously difficult thing to learn. Like seriously, dude. I spent like 6 years studying music theory.
mm-hmm.
So like, and that's like 2 years in high school and then 4 years at a collegiate level, like learning like actually composition itself. So music theory, don't knock yourself for not being able to learn it overnight because it's literally like learning a new language, but it's like learning a language that's based on math.
Yeah, that's the thing. I've always been like really good at math. Like I suck at English. Like science is like super weird to me. But like if you, I can like solve like math equations, like derive formulas and stuff like really easily.
Well, okay, so like if you're pretty good at math, like I was really good at math, like when I actually had to take it. Um, but if you're pretty good at math, music theory would it's gonna come. a bit more naturally, like at least like the more formulaic aspect of it. Whereas like the thing that's going to be hard for you is like learning like the staffs, like if you like learning actually how to read sheet music, and then like learning what different chords serve different purposes. Like that's like really like the like meat and bones of things. Are just like it's the functionality of music is based off of chord progressions, but that's like the functionality of chord progressions is based off of tonal counterpoint. It's like a whole fucking like mess of shit. So like don't knock yourself for not understanding it right away, because it is a lot to
Yeah,
try to comprehend.
that makes sense. Is
And
there
like do you know how to play the piano or
no,
like any
but
instruments?
I told you I'm leaving for school soon?
Yeah, you said you were leaving
Yeah.
next month, right?
Yeah, I'm leaving in like 20 days, like 15 days right now. But like
Damn.
I used to volunteer at like an old folks like memory care facility kind of thing, and they had a piano there, and I like tried to teach myself some like really like the like Married Life from Up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I couldn't do both hands, but like I got pretty far with just like the right hand side of like some pretty basic songs. And then they're gonna have a piano at like the school I'm going to. It's like a pretty small school, but they'll have a piano in like one of the buildings, and the rest of the instruments I guess I could borrow like from other students if they'll let me. But I want to try and teach myself some piano at least.
So like, well, the thing about modern music is like if you know how to play the piano, you can play any instrument you want because of the way that MIDI instruments work, and like the way that different VSTs are. I you would you should definitely learn how to play like in any instrument really,
Yeah,
like piano, like guitar, whatever. You should learn how to start with an instrument before you start trying to really get into learning music theory.
yeah, that
Because like
definitely makes
especially with
sense.
like a piano, like you can literally like sit down at a piano and write a chord out, and then like just like look at the notes and then try to figure it out like literally right in front of you, and you'll have a visual representation of what a chord is then too.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I mean, I've always thought like I would look cool if I played the drums or like an electric guitar or something, but like playing piano, like I always felt was like the most useful, um, in terms of like, because I always felt that like if you look at a guitar like I obviously a guitar can do a lot, but like I feel like compared to that a piano just has like such a wider like range of like different notes it can hit and everything like that. Is that true, or is that just like me not
Well,
understanding it?
okay, so the piano, like a piano has 88 keys typically.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a guitar, okay, so like I'm a classically trained guitarist
Mm-hmm.
too. So like I don't know. You can do things on a guitar that you can't do on a piano, but you can also do things on a piano that you can't do on a guitar.
That makes sense.
It's just the way that the instruments work. Like pianos or keyboard instruments, you can't control like timbre very well, or you can't control not timbre like expression very well on a piano. Like you can definitely play swells and crescendos. Like however, like you can't even on guitars. Like you pluck the note and that is the articulation. Whereas like on a trumpet, you can play a note, but you can also like make it louder and softer as you're playing the note. Whereas on a piano, when you press a note down, like it's going to be at the velocity that you played the note. At the velocity at which you struck the key, or on a guitar, it's like the velocity at which you plucked a string. Different instruments serve different purposes for that reason, and that's why orchestral music gets so crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I never thought of it that way, but like now that you're explaining it, like it's a lot of things are clicking. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I think one time I told you that like just like it came up and I said that like I don't understand music like without words in it. Like, and I only could listen to like songs with like very specifically where I could like relate to the lyrics and like understand what they're saying and stuff. And I don't know if I've told you like this second part that I'm about to say. I think I might have mentioned it like once, but like I've recently discovered this like hidden like love for classical music and like just instrumental like old pieces like Moonlight Sonata and like stuff like that that I didn't even like think could exist. But like it's so like now that I'm like starting to try and do it myself and working with like different instrumental sounds, even though I don't like have any instruments, and I understand a little bit about how it works. Like there's so much that goes into it, and I just like appreciate that music so much more. It's crazy.
I mean, that's good, honestly. Like the thing about classical music is like everyone, it gets such a bad rap, like especially with kids, because they like in school they'll be like, okay, it's time to like it's quiet time. I'm gonna put on some music. They'll put on like literally the
Yeah.
worst fucking shit instrumental music they can find. Literally the worst shit. Like if we went to like high school and like if they're like, okay, it's quiet time, I'm gonna play you some Chopin. That would be fucking cool, like, because they don't ever like teachers don't ever do that shit, and it's like, okay, well, this is what's
Yeah.
ruining classical music for kids.
Yeah, I recently found like uh I forget exactly, but it's like Ballade in G minor or whatever from that guy you just mentioned. Like that's
Chopin, yeah,
crazy,
his
dude.
ballades, dude, those are insane. His favorite, oh man, like he's got some really cool pieces, but my favorite piece of his is this piece. I mean, I can link it to you. It's, dude, he wrote some insane music. Like it's just like I've been trying to learn his stuff on piano lately.
Have you
It's
used your piano at all?
my like actual like broken piano.
Yeah, the fucking
Yeah, I've
the
used it
raw
to
violin.
record some stuff actually.
Yeah,
It's
that's cool.
it's broken, but like you can use it for like very like because I don't know, even though it's broken, it sounds of has a very particular sound to it. That's like very unique. So like I might not even like retune the strings in it. I might just let it be where it's at just because of the way that the instrument sounds. Even though the tonality is like really just fucking shot all the hell.
That's so interesting how it like is that from like overuse or like it didn't like tune the
So like
keys
it's
properly or
I mean it's
anything?
like a
Disrepair.
whole bunch of different things. So it's like it's broken. Like it's there are keys that don't work in it,
Oh.
and it's like it is literally from the year 1921. It's got like a music box or like a piano roll player in it that you can stick piano rolls in, and like it'll like sit there and like play the piano roll. It's like one of those like old saloon pianos. It's got like a whole bunch of water damage, so that might have something to do with it. Like it's literally just age and not being taken care of in the way that it should have been. And to
Mm,
fix it, you have to pull out the music, like the piano roll player mechanism, which weighs like 800 pounds.
wow.
So,
Lightweight.
and you couldn't even pull that out.
Didn't even try.
I mean, it's held down by two screws. Like, if anyone wants to try to help me pull that thing out of the piano, you're more than welcome to.
Need a
Like,
fucking forklift to get that thing out.
yeah, you do, dude. I watched. Okay, watching the guys move that into the house was insane.
Do that
Those
was
guys, they literally just like put it on a cart, pushed it up the stairs because they had like this automatic fucking ramp thing that like rolled out. It was the coolest, dude. These guys were high tech piano movers. Not gonna lie.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Uh,
thing weighs probably like 1,200 pounds.
yeah, I've seen like videos of pianos like falling from like tall buildings and shit and like hearing the explosion at the end. Like it's kind of cool, but I feel like it's pretty much the same sound as if you just hit all the keys at once.
I mean, it's I mean, kind of, yeah. You wouldn't ever want to replicate the sound of a piano breaking because if you break a piano like that, that is a lot of money just out the
Yeah,
window.
for sure.
Pianos aren't cheap, especially like
Mhm.
grand. You can like get like the cheapest grand piano I think you can buy is still like $30,000.
What the fuck, really?
Yeah, dead serious. Pianos aren't cheap, dude.
Holy shit.
Sometimes they're free.
But sometimes they're free, like the one that I have.
and somehow you managed getting the moving paid for too.
That was
Dude,
offered.
they offered.
Yeah, they
It was like,
offered for that.
bro, how the fuck are we even gonna get this out of your house? And then they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna pay for it.
Yeah,
Just
that
so,
was
like,
insane.
it's taken care of.
Literally a free piano
And the
delivered to
guy
your house.
who gave it to you didn't even live in Colorado.
I
Not
know.
anymore.
That was hilarious.
What, so he just like didn't want to take it with him?
I guess, dude.
Yeah.
Now I have it.
They said that. So we were talking to this couple who was holding it for a friend at their house, and he had moved to Florida, and he had this piano, but it was like still broken, obviously, and so it was like, well, I can spend like the 10,000 to move it down here, or like just give it away to somebody else because it's been in this person's living room for like 5 to 10 years or something like that.
Yeah.
Well,
It's a
So
cool
they just gave
instrument.
it to us.
That's awesome that you got that.
Yeah. It's a cool instrument, honestly.
T-Word, you're on a podcast, by the way.
Oh,
You're not intruding or anything. I just wanted to let you know.
okay.
And yeah, like in terms of one question I've always had is like when I listen to all the songs that already exist, how is it possible that you can create a beat that doesn't already exist? I mean, like, is there that many combinations? Or like, it just seems like everything's has already been made at least once, and there's no way to like make something completely new, is there?
I mean, like, there's absolutely ways to create something completely new because you would write a completely different melody than me if we both sat down at a piano. Like, we could literally be given the same tonal boundaries and we would still both write something completely different. As a composer and like in my time writing music, like I'll occasionally write something that's already been written, but like by the time that you're sitting down and actually writing music all the time, you've already listened to so much music, so like anything that you write is going to be influenced by what you choose to listen to in your free time. So like
That makes
naturally
sense.
you're going to draw on all of these influences, but like most of the time you'll write something new and you won't write anything that's like rewritten, unless like of course like you're sampling things and then you're just reusing other people's music, which I mean like has its place.
Well, I
But
mean, like, it's the same with language, though. If you, all the words are already written out. There's a dictionary with every single word defined, but there's still ways to combine them to create a new message with it. And that's what, like, music's about, is the message that you're creating through the sound. It's not just, here's a couple of keys on my piano, and I'm talking about my girlfriend breaking up with me. Like, it's
Yeah.
more than just that.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, actually. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've always found that like, at least, have you ever tried to write lyrics for your beats as well?
I mean like I haven't like written lyrics for my beats. I wrote when I was like when I was for my composition like audition, actually I wrote a choral piece that I wrote all of the lyrics for. It was for 4-piece choir, so like soprano, alto, tenor, bass.
Hmm.
But like I haven't written like rap lyrics. No, that's like a completely different art in itself.
Yeah.
Like being able to like come up with rhymes like that.
Yeah, dude, I'm always just like in complete awe when I listen to, for example, Eminem. Some of his songs fucking blow me away, dude. Like he has a whole stanza where it just everything rhymes with one syllable, or he has like a stanza where like the whole sentence structure like rhymes. So there'll be like whatever sentence it is, like each line has like these like 6 syllables in a row, and like the vowel sounds will match like for the next 2 stanzas. Like, how do you fucking do that? That's crazy.
Yeah, he's brilliant, honestly. Like his lyrics are insane.
Yeah.
Like,
Not that he needs us to tell him, like, holy shit. Is
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
it's true.
I don't know, man. There's like, I always used to think that if I just put in the effort, like I could be like the best at whatever I want to do. But there has to be like some aspect of just natural talent that that guy has.
Well, I mean, it's just there's of course like natural talent has like a role in it. Like, dude, for example, Mozart fucking wrote his first symphony at the age of fucking like 6 or 8 or 9 or something like that.
Yeah.
His first symphony. He was a fucking child. The first time
Holy
that he
shit.
heard Handel's Messiah, he went home and wrote the entire score from memory after hearing it once. So like natural talent definitely like has like a factor in some of these
Yeah.
things.
And wasn't
But
there
like
a
yet again,
guy
like
who
if
was
you
like a
practice enough.
composer that was deaf as well?
Yeah, this is Beethoven. He started
Yeah.
becoming deaf towards the end of his career in his life.
Oh,
He
okay, that
wrote
makes
the
so much more sense. I thought he was like born deaf and he was just writing music from like feeling the vibrations or whatever.
oh no. He no. He like he started going deaf like later on in his life, and by the time that his Ninth Symphony, like the Ode to Joy, was performed, he was completely deaf and did not hear any of it.
But could he still like? I mean, I'm sure he was able to like envision like hearing it in his mind, right, as he like wrote it out and
Well,
everything.
I mean, like, yeah, I guarantee you he could hear it in his head because dude, that guy was insane. He was a fucking, literally, like a madman. Most of the old composers were all just like crazy bastards.
Oh,
Like,
you mean like he was actually like genuinely crazy?
yeah,
Probably.
yeah. Beethoven was insane, dude. Like, oh man, he would sit down and like he would enter like these piano competitions
Mm-hmm.
and play against somebody, and then like they would play first and then Beethoven would come and he would play off of the theme that they played. He would literally play back the exact thing that they played with just listening to it, and then he would improvise on it for like 8 hours straight without standing up from the piano. Insane.
Wow.
It's just like they turn off all the lights in there and he's just still going and everybody's gone home and shit.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, dude. Like, oh man.
If he plays with his
I
eyes
mean-
closed and he's deaf at that point, like, just does he know if everyone just leaves at that point? He's just sitting there
Guess
alone.
not. Just probably, yeah, just by himself. I really wish that like I could have been alive to see what it was like when he was writing his Fifth Symphony. Like I would have loved to see, because like it just like, judging by the way that Beethoven wrote his music, he would sit down and like improvise a theme on the piano, and so like there's got to be some like reduction somewhere that Beethoven wrote of the Fifth Symphony just for piano, and it would be insane to sit there and like watch him just like fucking play that. Oh my god, it's like watching metal. It's like old school metal right there.
It's so interesting that you say that, because like I don't know why, but like I definitely feel that way about certain things. Like I wish I was alive like in the past when this happened, but now that you say that, like I don't think I've ever heard anyone like my age say anything. Like obviously like we're not the same age, but like people from like my generation, like I've heard my parents say it, but otherwise I don't think I've ever heard people say like I wish I was alive during like this like historical event or like something that happened in the past, you know?
Oh yeah.
I don't know why,
There-
but like I just
Learn
realized
from the
that.
past. Stop realizing its importance. And now everybody wants to fucking be the future.
It's true.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, there are so many things that like I guess it like for example, it would have been nice for me to like be alive during the start of YouTube and just like grow up with like all these people that I look up to now, for example, but like that's not an actual like desire I have, but I think like there are something like for example, I feel like you're actually genuinely really connected and like have a like a passion for like going back, and if you could like understand what that like writing the reduction or whatever you called it, like I can get the sense from the way you say it and everything that you're like so into that and like it means a lot to you, and that's just like I feel like lost on a lot of people right now.
Well, I mean, that also comes from like literally years and years of looking at this man's music. Like I've looked at so many of Beethoven's written scores. It would be because like I don't know, like I can literally just like, because I've got like a slightly photographic memory, so I can like literally picture his fucking score in my head. And it would be cool just to sit there and like watch him sit down at a piano and just be like, okay, that part is where the strings come in, that's where the flutes come in, that's where the timpanis do this huge fucking like bam. It would be insane to see something like that,
Yeah.
because he was literally like, Beethoven's music he's the man that we chose to send out into space. Like in that probe that we sent to space, there's a recording of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony on a record.
I thought that was Elon Musk's Tesla. Huh.
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess Elon Musk Tesla, just shot off in the space.
Right alongside him.
But yeah, dude.
What have we
It's cool
sent
shit.
into space?
What haven't we? It's just a giant garbage pile.
Yeah,
Stuff
apparently
that
like
goes in.
the more rockets we launch, because like most of the rocket gets like dismantled and everything right when it launches, so apparently like if we launch too many rockets, eventually like all the discarded stuff that falls off will form an orbit around Earth that will just make it impossible to leave with further space travel unless we find a way to clear it up.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
That's gonna happen one day, and probably in our lifetime, because we're already trying to send people to fucking Mars right now.
Yeah.
Like, where are we gonna be at in fucking 20 years?
It seems like, I mean, it seems hard, but it also seems like a good idea, right? Like, I always hear people say, like, why would you want to go to Mars? Like, there's nothing there. But, like, I don't know. I could see a lot of, like, benefits from going there and stuff like that if we're able to actually do it. I mean, Elon Musk is probably, like, the first to, I mean, he is the first to go that far with things like this, but there's so many people that just, like, drag him down and are like, what are you doing, dude? Like, this is useless. But I mean, he's still going, and he's probably gonna do it. How old is he now?
Fucking, I don't know, like 35 or some shit.
I think he's like late 40s.
I don't know. I don't care that much about Elon, to be honest.
Yeah, he's 49, but he married like a 25-year-old singer or something, right? Either way, but like, yeah, I don't pay too much attention to him as well, but I just like admire how, I mean, he grew up just liking space stuff, and then he went and fucking made incredible breakthroughs in the field and like did what he wanted to do. And
it all
just,
comes with like money and success. Like, there's always going to be people who doubt you, especially when you start seeing large amounts of success. Because
yeah,
that rocket could have crashed when they were trying to send the rover to Mars, and there are plenty that have, even ones that we put like very valuable lives inside of, have blown up. And so like there will always be doubt on that exploration because we're just kind of used to living on Earth at this point.
yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, I think part of like the, oh yeah, and I know we're going a little over what we talked about. If you guys want to go or anything like that, it's completely fine. Just let me know. But I was just thinking about like the amount of, I wouldn't call it backlash, but just like negative, like anti-support or whatever that he's getting from like all these people also probably comes from like the exposure that he has, right? Like if he was doing this rocket stuff, but it was like, that was just a commonplace thing to do, and like only like 30 people really paid attention to him, they would probably like all support him, and the people who didn't would just leave. But like almost everyone knows who Elon Musk is, at least where I am. So I guess you have to have like an opinion on that because it's so like influential on the current events and everything like that.
Yeah.
Do you guys pay any attention to politics?
Yeah.
Really? I don't want
I
to
mean-
make it seem bad, but like I would not have expected that from you at all.
I mean, you gotta sort of pay attention.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Otherwise, there's no reason not to like sort of pay attention. Because even if you like just barely pay attention, you'll have a great, decent grasp, like a better grasp of like what like most news sources will tell you what's going on in the world.
Yeah. Oh, you're into like global stuff?
Well, I mean, like news is news. It
Yeah.
doesn't really matter if like something happens here, or if it happens like some like foreign country.
Yeah, that makes sense.
News is news at the end of the day.
Yeah, I never like to go into politics because I know that like, especially in America and especially right now, you're just always gonna have someone disagree with you. But like I always stand by like not censoring people. That's the one thing that I really, really care about. And it just like, it always pisses me off when, I don't know, maybe it's the environment I grew up in or whatever, but it just seems like people are always complaining about problems that aren't actual problems.
True.
Yeah, that was my little
very
rant
true.
for the podcast. We still haven't come up with a name. This is gonna be episode 6, and I have no idea what to call it. I've been putting out episodes with no idea what to call the actual podcast. Do you guys have any suggestions?
I do not. I don't know what you would call this.
Yeah, I mean,
be honest.
there really is no like subject or anything that we actually go about. It just completely depends, and it's been with different people almost every time as well. So that it's such a huge variety of topics and everything. there's nothing like the names that I get suggestions are usually just like really stupid, like no thought put into them, and like we got undiagnosed herpes, the early life crisis, the lag cast was the name of the last one because I was just lagging so much. So yeah, like
The lag cast.
yeah. So I'm really stuck. I started talking about how I never want to give it a name and just have it be like the podcast, but I probably will eventually have to do something with that if I want to put it on like Spotify or anything. But right now they're just like normal YouTube videos on my channel.
I get you.
Yeah. I think we can wrap up now. Seems like a good place to stop.
We covered a decent
Yeah.
chunk of topics.
Yeah, we covered a lot. And this was actually pretty great. Like a lot of the time, like I'm talking for a straight hour or like 50 minutes of the hour, but you guys actually talked about something you liked and like it went on, and yeah, it filled a lot of time with me just actually listening. It was a nice change of pace. So yeah, that was the podcast. All your links will be in the description and everything. And yeah, that's it. See ya.
Cool.